My name is Sangeet, and today I want to share with you something about appearance. Many of us tend to care about the way we look, about the shape of our bodies, and all of its characteristics. This happens particularly when we are part of a society or a group of people that pushes us into believing that we are the bodies that carry us, that we have to look in a certain way, that there is somewhere and somehow a model for how a body should look like. After so many forms of expression focusing on people's appearance that can be translated into so many ways, we no longer need any of those things around us to remind us of how we should look like, because now we may even be alone and physically distant from all kinds of social stimuli, and still we carry those rooted beliefs with us. We become the biggest inner and outer criticizers of this entire planet, and from that we can only perpetuate this enormous torment throughout future generations. And as we become more and more conscious of this subject, it may even seem too late to try to convince ourselves that bodies are perfect just as they are, because we have seen too much evidence of the contrary. Well, then let's dive into this. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Breathe so deeply that you completely relax. Now, think of whatever reference you have of how a body, a face, a whole human appearance should look like, for both men and women. Now, imagine that everybody's entire appearances that you know of, including your own, plus the rest of the people in the world, would be replaced by those same references. No more complaints about bodies. Everybody would have the same shape, the same color, the same size, the same face, the same exact everything in what comes to their appearance. Imagine how would your life feel and look like. Now, take a deep breath and open your eyes. I could almost guess that you may have felt some sort of relief as you open your eyes and realize that all of that was only happening in your imagination, that the world is still full of contrast in what comes to looks and appearances. And let me tell you why. Because if everybody would look the same, you wouldn't even be able to distinguish people around you, and others wouldn't be able to distinguish yourself from everybody else either. People would have to write their names all over their bodies to help others to find them, and that wouldn't even be enough, because many people would have the same name. You see, whenever we try to look the same, we immediately have to find ways to distinguish each other. This is how things function here on Earth. We experience differences, variety, diversity, and that is part of all of the fun itself. How boring would it be if everybody would look the same? And yes, sometimes we may wish to look like everybody else, because that way we wouldn't have to worry so much about how our shapes and sizes stand out from the crowd. But let me tell you, whatever makes us stand out can very well be what also fits our authenticity, our signature, our original way of showing up in whatever reality we are living in. Remember, everything is a matter of perspective. Flaws are only flaws when we compare them to something else, finding them to be too much or too little of something. Bodies are bodies, and we are souls living in these bodies. Let's be grateful for them. Whatever they look like, they are the ones that allow us to go through all of these experiences here on Earth. We may change them in any way, whether consciously or unconsciously, Because we are creators, and we go through different phases, and we may have different wishes in what comes to our physicality. It is fine to redraw our physical contours. It is fine to work on our appearances if that is important and meaningful to us. And at the same time, let's be aware that whatever relationship we choose to have with our bodies, and whatever decisions we make in what comes to our appearance, the way we look will always be exactly that, the way we look. That's all. Who we are, that is something else. So, next time we look in the mirror, whatever imperfection we think we see, let's nurture it with a smile. There are no imperfections or perfections. There are only creations happening in every moment, and all of them have their own place in this world. Life goes by anyway. Let's live consciously and embrace us all.